Hello everyone, I am Andrea Cozzumbo. I have a fellowship with the PRISMA project, that is the Italian Fireball network. And I will present you the current status of the Italian PRISMA Fireball network. We will see this is an overview. We will see the PRISMA project, what PRISMA is, and one of its achievement that is the Cavezzo meteorite founding. And then we will talk about astrometric and photometric calibration. That is how we managed to reconstruct the trajectory of the events of the fireballs. And then we will pass to see what I did during this period since February with the PRISMA collaboration, so the long-term data analysis. PRISMA stands for First Italian Network for Systematic Surveillance of Meters and Atmosphere. And it started in around 2016 or 2017 with the first cameras. And it is a partner of the European Freeform project. It is the French Fireball network that firstly developed the optical system and then expanded all over Europe. And now it's currently led by the National Institute for Astrophysics in Italy. It's a little bit zoom. Can you? Okay, thank you. This is one of the best achievements of PRISMA. It is the New Year's fireball that was found that now we call Cavezzo meteorite. The 1st January of 2020, we had this event, this really bright event, and 8 of our cameras gave us this signal, and on the top we have the reconstruction. And on the bottom we have instead the to reconstruct. The 2 pieces of the meteorite were found 3 days later by Mr. Davide and
Make an announcement and switch off the microphone.
Yeah, if you can reach off your microphone, these are the 2 pieces of meteorite that we managed to find, and they were donated to the INAF institution by the finder. And these are one bigger piece that is around 50 grams, and the smaller one around 3 grams. And they were part of the same body that was classified as a L5 anomalous chondrite. And the gamma activity measurements of a few days later, respect to the finding, clarified that this was really a freshly fallen meteorite because of the 48 vanadium cosmogenic isotope found. So we passed to the astrometric calibration. That is what really give us the possibility to reconstruct the in a very good way the trajectory of the fireball we can see with our cameras. We have to specify that Freeform and PRISMA do not use the same calibration on the image of the detection. but it separates it, and so we calibrate on some images taken every 10 minutes with a 5 seconds exposure. So one of them is right there, the black one. And firstly, we use a simplified model with 5 parameters to be able to match the found stars with a catalog, so the red and yellow dots. And then we feed these 5 parameters when they are stable into a complete model. The complete model is a rather difficult one, but takes into account the misalignment and the distortion of the camera. And it is made of around 10 parameters. And so it's a very much complex one. The photometric calibration instead is a rather classical one. It takes into account a aperture photometry with an estimation of the background. And then the pipeline gives us the correction of the atmospheric extinction. We see in the graph that we have the residual magnitude as a function of the air mass. And the residual magnitude is the difference between the catalog magnitude of the stars and the experimental one. And as we can see, we have a linear trend of the data that we can fit with a 0-point parameter of the residual magnitude and the slope that is the actual atmospheric extinction parameter. In the pipeline of the photometric calibration, we have to include also the fact that, as you can see from the image, we have that Prisma as a peculiar bending spacing band, and is different from the Johnson-Cousins filter that we usually see. And so there is a conversion between the two inside the photometric calibration. And finally, we also take into account the loss of radial efficiency due to the fact that the stars at the border lose the efficiency of the optical system, lose the efficiency in recognize them. So the idea of our analysis was to that we had this big data set since 2016, and we had to see if these parameters that we present here, both for the astrometric and photometric calibration, changes over time. So the idea is that if they change over time, how often we need to calibrate back again the instrument and the parameters, and we have to update the parameters. And is there some instrumental effect that we are missing due to the fact that we can now see a long period changing of this parameter? And we start with the astrometry parameters. This is one of the best cameras of Prisma, because it's placed in a very dark region of the Italian territory. And it started in March 2017. And as we can see, we have this peculiar behavior, an oscillatory behavior, on top of this drift of these O and Z position. That are the optical center position and the zenith position. And we have this oscillatory behavior also in the in parameters that are the scale parameters of the sky camera. The really important one is the behavior that we have on the number of stars, the second graph. All these graphs are as a function of time, are plotted as a function of time. So we have that from the beginning from the installation of the camera, the number of stars drastically decreased. The last part of the analysis was at the end of 2021. So we have we seen less stars with the same camera, and on top of that, there's the oscillation that is due to the alternation between summer and winter. This is something that we see also on Pino Torinese cameras, the one that we have in Turin, that is in a very light polluted region. So we have this steeper descending of the number of stars, and other cameras display also these oscillatory behavior. For the photometry temporal analysis, we have that this drift, this peculiar drift, is seen also on the 0 point of the magnitude, and exactly where there's the zoom pop-up. There's this descending that maybe is correlated, and we think is correlated to the decreasing of the number of stars. And we can explain it by taking into account an increasing during time of light pollution during this 4 or 6 years period where we collected our data set. And or instead, for example, they don't decreasing in transparency. So the cameras has a dome, a protected dome for the CCD. And with the increasing opacity simply give us less precision in seeing dimmer stars. And this is maybe the reason why we have this descending, because this is a curve performance deterioration that is very well known in statistics. Finally, we have this partial analysis on the photometry that started with this graph, and where we see the fact that the residual magnitude for lower air mass has this spread down the central point. That maybe we ask ourselves, is this is a limit of our instrumental setup, or maybe something that we are not considering yet. And plotting the respect with the position on the CCD, the same data, we see this peculiar oscillating behavior in the 3-dimensional graph, where we see the structure of this oscillation inside the pixel. So it's something that we are missing, the description of the pixel itself. So maybe it could be a CCD due to the CCD undersampling, or to the fact that we are missing something in the physical representation of the CCD. So we use an interline CCD, and as we know, this has a dead surface. So this part of the dead surface maybe can explain the fact that in the region where the photons are acquired in the dead surface, no signal is produced. So to be able to explain this hypothesis, we repeated the same graph as we see here for the Polaris, but with a lot more stars. And the product is the graph on the left, where we see the mean residual magnitude for a lot of stars, with a grouping of the pixels as a 100 by 100, a group of 100 by 100 pixels. And we can see the projection in the X and Y directions that give us this peculiar peaked form of the residual magnitude. So if we see one of the plots, we have that at the center the pixel behaves as it should be, but on the extremal parts we have we lose some part of the signal, and maybe this is due to the fact that we are not considering the dead surface part, the dead portion of the pixel. And so to corroborate our hypothesis, we simulate some data with a virtual CCD that we on which we can tune the X, that is the dead portion of the optical system, and the fluid of maximum. This is the 2D representation, and this is the 1D, the same but in 1 dimensions. And then, as you can see, the increasing of the dead portion, we have this peculiar peaked signal. And finally, we had the possibility to try to fit it with a function, an analytic function, and it reproduced very well the simulated data. So we tried to fit the actual data. So this is the 5-5 block, this one, the fifth and on the column and on the row. And you see that it fits very well, and it produces these estimations of the dead layer of the on each part of the singular pixel, that is around 5%. So if we add it, we have a field factor, that is the fraction of the active field on the pixel and the dead part, the dead surface, that is around 8%. So to conclude, we have this analysis on this big data set over time and over a spatial projection on the CCD, and we came up with these results. Thank you for your attention.